Today I'm going to be replacing seat recline gear for my driver's seat out of my E36, and what we're going to be chasing after is getting inside of here and then taking the little thing out. You'll see what I'm talking about later. First thing I'm going to do is get this guy off by taking two Torx T25 things, whatever, take that off. And then this one over here, and I should be able to pull this guy out a little bit and then kind of fish him up and over. Here's a small diagram I drew of the cover of the gearbox that I'm just poking the bolts through roughly where they go to make sure I don't lose where they go and make sure they go back in the right spot. Now that I got that bolt out and that bolt out, I'm just gonna pull back on this and then lay it off somewhere in here carefully, making sure I don't really pull on the wires or leave it in a spot where it's just gonna slowly pull on the wires. Next thing you gotta do is you gotta get this one out, which is held in by this bolt. And there should be one back here for you, but I don't know. This must have been taken apart already because there's not one back there. I had one in my passenger seat, so there should be one back there. I just don't have one. Now that we got both of these motors off and out of the way, we can take off all of these other screws or other bolts we need to get to. This one, that one down there, these two, and this one. And then after that, we should be able to take the cover off. Another thing is that all of these bolts, but these two, are T20s. And then those two are the same T25 that we used to get the motors off. That's what the inside looks like. And then you wanna get this whole thing out, this whole gear piece, even though we're just gonna take off this and then put the new one on. But yeah, we wanna take this piece out, and then there's a little collar on the top of this that you gotta take off, and then you can get this off. And then you gotta press the new gear onto this shaft here. Forgot to take a video of putting the new gear right there on, but you gotta take this little collar off and then get the gear off and put the new one on and then put the collar back on, and then that's how you do it. It's gonna be really hard because the the gears press fit on there like super tight. So what you're probably gonna want to do is get like a nut or something that fits, well, to get the gear back on, get a nut or something that fits like right over kind of where the pin or the thingy actually goes through, the rod, and then put a nut over that, over the hole of the gear, and then put in a vise or something and crank it down, and it'll just start to go through the thing. It's the easiest way to get it back on. And then put the collar back on, and then put her back in here. And after you get that piece back in, we're gonna be putting on the cover next. Now that I finally got that cover back on, we're gonna throw the screws that hold the cover on in, and then I'm gonna put the motors back on this. Now that I have all the cover bolts back in and the cover's on there, nice and solid, I'm gonna put the motor that's more towards the front of the seat on first, and then the recline motor on. Now that I have the front one in, I'm gonna go ahead and do the back one, which is just putting it, make sure it gets on that that connecting rod, and then bolt here, and then I can put it back in the car. So it is all back together. Got the new seat gear in there. Made sure to grease it up real nice. So it should last for a really long time. Another 25, 23, 24 years or whatever it is now. If you do actually have this back panel, I don't think this seat has it, or this seat definitely doesn't have it because I don't have these, but the passenger seat did have it, and I am pretty sure you take this metal piece and flip it down behind the reclining seat motor, and then you have to like put a screw or something through the thing. I don't know, you guys had to take it apart to get to it, so you should know how to put it back together, right? Like, you did all this. That was way more complicated than putting a cover over it. All right, yeah, that's how you put a new seat gear in.